Everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations, and we are going to be doing some canvas bags today. You know what? I just find that as you go into the summer, you are hauling stuff all over the place. Just in terms of going to backyard barbecues and pool parties and things. So another canvas tote will come in handy. But bear in mind, you can do any size of little canvas bag, using them for gifts instead of a wrapping paper, that kind of thing. It's just kind of cute, it's kind of lovely, and you can personalize them however you want. What I'm looking at doing today is we are going to use some of the IOD stamps. And this one I'm going to be doing big florals just because it's a large bag and I feel like doing florals. I do have a sheet of acetate in between. Doing the stamping, this bag is particularly thick. I don't think it's going to be a problem either doing the stamping or doing the coloring with any leakage between it, but it's better safe than sorry. So what I'm going to do to start is just really pick some of my flowers, and you know, some of these are both from chrysanthemums. So go figure. Let me just rip that off, both of them. And I just want to put a bunch of florals. Okay, obviously never used this particular flower. All right, so these have been, before you use your stamps, you sand them lightly. So these have already been sanded. I just haven't used that particular flower before. All right. So all that we're gonna do, I have my ink pad already juiced up. I'm using IOD black ink for this. And I'm just going to stamp down onto the pattern. I want to make sure, because the fabric really absorbs a lot of this, and these are my guidelines for painting. I want to make sure that I have enough on there that it's going to kind of give me the pattern I'm looking for. And then I am going to carefully lay it out where I want it to be. Now, I want this, I'm thinking I have a brayer here. You can just use your fingers to push. Well, you know what? I'm thinking my fingers are better because then I'm pushing down. The brayer seems to be pushing it out. And I want minimal movement here. I want the ink to be impressed down into the fabric. There we go. And just try and cover as much of the territory as I can. You can see I'm always leaving one hand in contact with the stamp just to make sure that it doesn't shift all over the place. And when I think I'm done, let me maybe get all the little tips around the outside edges. I think that's the part that I'm gonna have missed the most. And then lift away. Don't forget to clean this off, but there's my image. So what I'm going to do is get my big florals, so whichever florals I decide that I want to use here, I'm gonna get them all stamped first, and then I'll take you in overhead for the next stages, the next steps, in particular with getting some leaves on there. But none of these are going to overlap, and so I can get all my florals done first. You can see that I've kind of placed a couple of leaves here, and if I stamped them now, if I place them there, then those lines are all going to stamp on top of this floral. And this is where the IOD masks kick in. Now, the masks now come pattern so you can tell what the heck they are and what they go to. These are the old ones and they don't, and you end up having to go through all these blank things and try and figure it out. But what the mask does is it masks off that floral so that when I stamp my leaves over top, it blocks this ink from going where that flower is. It's going to go on top of the mask, right? And it looks like the leaf is coming out in behind. So I want this one also to be coming in behind. Just a little here. So we're going to save that. And it just helps you in layering your design. Now, I don't have a stamp. I don't have a mask for this little guy anymore. Classes, they just end up, who knows where they end up. They're clear, you can't see them, and they go into a different bag, and I have so many stamps, it's crazy. So in this case, I'm just gonna stamp my leaf so that it's just coming out of the design, and I'm not gonna layer it at all. And that way I work around that, right? And maybe I'll do another one coming down the bottom. So I'm just gonna get all of this stamping done, and then we'll come back and we'll start talking about painting it out. Now, to add color to this, you could do a couple of things. I mean, you could use you could use a fabric paint. You could take any of your regular paints and add a fabric medium to it to make it a little bit more color fast. You could use any paint that you wanted, and then seal all of this. What I am trialing are fabric markers. So this is a set of 30 colors I got off of Amazon. I'll drop a link into it. Basically, you use them like any other marker, color your pattern in, let it dry. I mean, it's going to be dry, but give it 24 hours, and then it should be good to go. And then heat set it. So I am definitely going to be heat setting it, and we'll see how it goes. But this is where you just want to make sure, especially if you're using like a paint, that it doesn't seep through. So use your plastic. What I'm looking at doing is taking some of my colors, and what I like to do is go from, let's start with a leaf, start kind of light and do some of my highlights, and then go dark. So I'm not looking, you could color the whole thing in, you could just do bits of it. I just am gonna do kind of part of this, and then add in just a little bit of detailing with a darker shade. And I'm gonna wanna do something similar with the flowers. I'll have to pick 2 tones maybe that I want to use. So I just use this one. I don't know how dark any of these colors are I'm playing. So let me try this one with it. Yeah, and that's dark enough. So here, I'm just gonna go in and just lightly add a little. Now for this, I'm kind of using the side of the tip. You can see these are shaped a little bit like paint brushes. So you could use kind of a sweeping motion with the side. You could use the tip if you're looking for some finer strokes. But I'm just looking for this to look, you know, a little less completely colored, a little bit more organic and a little softer. It's really going to depend upon what the pattern is, what the design, because there's so many different stamps and you could be doing something else, right? So those are my leaf colors. Florals, I don't know. Okay, I'm thinking maybe those three. If I start with this light peachy color, and probably I should do more of this out toward the tips and then start working the darker colors down toward the center maybe. That's maybe a better strategy. So let me just do a couple, do a bit in here to kind of show what it might look like. And then I'll reserve the black for doing any refined detailing later. Okay, I think that that's going to look good. It's got a lot of variation. I'm taking advantage of this is a very rough canvas on something less rough, like here, or this example. Then you could fill in more. Here you could see even with her dress, I didn't fill it all in, but the greenery there is a little bit more filled in, kind of went easier there. It's a little rougher, so I'm kind of staying a little bit more organic, but I'm kind of digging that. I'm kind of liking that. So all that's involved now is coloring. Okay, gang. So I showed you briefly, I had done a small little bag with just something from like a little sprigs, the little house, just again, different size bags. Here's the one that we started together. So just some quick little florals from one of the stamps. I mean, the beauty of the stamps is that it takes all of the drawing pressure away. You just get to use whatever stamps you have in whatever way you want and in whatever combination, mix your stamps, do whatever. And then in essence, you just created your own little coloring book. You can use the markers to be able to do a lot of fine detail on this. I didn't add any black detailing at all. I might go back into the center of one flower, but I really only had the one flower that would have any of it. So I just thought if I did black there, it would just look a little off. And I kind of like it, just with the softness and the colors. And you have a whole other side. You can do the same thing. You can do something else with it. It's really your own. Great craft to do with the kids. They can do the stamping, they can do the coloring, and doing it with the markers, I just found a lot easier than with the paint. The paint creates a lot more opacity, which makes it harder to see the next strokes, to be able to see your outlines. This makes it so much easier. You could choose to go back in now with a black permanent marker and be able to outline everything again, to be able to highlight more detail if you choose, or just leave it kind of in the soft organic look. Really up to you. Quick idea, quick craft, lots of fun, easy coloring for you, for the kids, for the elderly. I just think it's super sweet, super fun, and gives you a really practical outcome. Let me know what you think of this one. Let me know your thoughts. Certainly how it goes if you give it a try. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.